that there. Oops. There you go. Okay, so what do we need to do for right now? Check the fields. Zoom out a little way. So that's our new field, full of barley. It's fully nitrogenated per barley requirements. Those two fields are clover. Field 3, 9 and that pasture there are the ones we use for grass. I am strongly considering, once we do our third grass cut on field 3, ripping that up and planting something else in it. This is going to be sunflowers, so not planting anything on that field until late. This is spelt, I think. Yes. A strange shade of yellow. That's canola, that got planted. I don't know if the fertilizer's good on that. Interesting question. Okay. So, that was planted. These two have been planted. So we're going to wait for those to germinate. And then they'll start growing. That's fine. These two fields already growing. These two fields harvested because clover, and we just wrapped them and shifted the clover bales off. This is harvested sugar beets, and as you can see, there's lots and lots and lots of tiny dots on this field where it's ready to harvest. More importantly, that field needs to be ploughed. I don't think any of my other fields need to be ploughed. So that's fine. But what is it? This field and this field, because they've started growing, they're going to need some herbicides which will eliminate weeds from those fields until the next harvest. Don't really want to do this field. We've got weeds in it, but oilseed radish, we're going to cultivate that in and then plant some sunflowers. This field, and I probably do the clover fields with herbicide while I'm at it as well. But 2 and 18, they're the ones we did spelt. They're the ones, no, 1 and 2 we did spelt. This is canola. But until they fertilize and start growing and there's actually growth, I'm not going to put herbicide down. Clover we might. This one we might. And that one we might. Because I don't harvest the sheep field at field 6. I consider a sheep field, but I don't really need weeds on it, so we could get rid of them. I'm sure the sheep don't mind. So we need the plough as well. Plough and the sprayer. But for right now, we'll go indoors and sleep, maybe, or not. Don't know that it's dark enough. 6, 12, 13 hours sleep if I can. I am not tired, of course I'm not. Okay, we'll go stand in the corner. And wait for it to start getting dark. Of course, mid-fall, I think daylight savings is a factor. So if they sleep for 12 hours, it's probably still going to be dark. Sure, it's starting to get dark. Okay, slow that down. Yes. So 12 hours takes us to 7 o'clock in the morning. And rain. And as you can see, we have loan interest payments now. And 7 o'clock in the morning, it's pitch dark. Nice. It rained overnight, but now it's sunny. I don't think it's quite sunny yet. There you go, doggy. Okay, let's check seep status. So again, clover silage, they're down on water. That field's down on cleanliness. This field, kind of okay for now. Okay, next animal in 0.4 years. Oh, we got some with 0.3 years, whatever that works out at. So it looks like most of the sheep are 0.3 or 0.4 years until child's happens, so that's fine. Maybe what we'll do, oh, I was going to service the case. Let's do that now, and then we'll attach the plough to it. And then get that staged and ready to go. I hit the button twice there, so we'll hit it a third time. Not that. The other thing I'm considering is, what is vehicle maintenance looking like? Class quadrant, that's a baler, needs to be, seriously needs to be fixed. The case, possibly the weight on the front of the case, but like I said, what's the penalty for not fixing your weights? It's not like they get lighter. The harvester, the class Axion, that's the black class. So we ought to do the baler. I think quite possibly the weight on the front of this tractor might need to be serviced as well. And since this tractor is my light ploughing tractor, that's why it's got the weight on the front. Okay, so we will repair the tractor. A tab and repair the weight. So it was the weight on the case that was the issue. I'll go back and check. So the class quadrant and the harvester. Now we're not planning on using the harvester again this year. So that can sit in the shed and have a pre-harvest service next summer. Somewhere here. Yeah. So I'm not sure I'm entirely a fan of this plough. Part of the reason being, it doesn't seem to play well with workers. And it's basically, I think it's the Kavernland. Yeah, it's, go to ploughs. Where is ploughs? That one there. So it's this one which you can modify to have the soil compactor. So across that cultivator. But it's 2.5 meters wide. This one, 2 meters wide. So I kind of want something. I want something 2.5 meters, 165 horsepower. So I've got the tractor to do it. That one, 1.2 meters, too narrow. That's possible. I suppose I could switch it for that. And then the Salford is 2 meters as well. I've seen a mod Lemkin, small Lemkin, which we could go with if I decided to. But, as I said, for right now, I mostly use this plough for finishing off a field where a worker doesn't do a particularly wonderful job with the big Lemkin because of the length and all the rest of it. So this one I tend to use in manual anyway, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, we'll drive up there. But obviously when I'm doing an entire field, which I kind of plan to do with the potato field, because it's small, it's got stone walls along the side. It's just a big giant problem for the big plough. Now, did I shut this gate? No, I didn't. That was bad of me. I suppose we're going to plough and then we're going to plant oilseed radish up here. I could do this top field with sugar beet, I guess. I guess we'll make a decision when we get closer to spring planting season. And we know if we've been able to increase our land holdings. Yeah, and that. Look through there. Because as I keep saying, I do want some more land. Unfold plough, 5. I don't know what the deal with this is, but it's not unfolding. It's going forwards and backwards. There we go. Okay. Doing its thing. So I'm going to turn that off. Try not to push the light button 10 times in a row. There we go. So that tractor's all sat there ready to go. I now need the Valtra. And this one needs to go to fields that are planted and growing, which are the 2 barley fields and probably the clover fields. So yeah, guess I don't really need the rear work lights on. And maybe driving a cab might be better. Hard to say, really. So I might speed up time a bit so that we do get a little bit of light. This is kind of difficult sometimes. I suppose the other thing I could look into is buying some land with trees on it. Yeah, somewhere on the right here. Right there. Just get out. And we're going to have to do this in daylight hours as well. Definitely. We're definitely going to have to do this in daylight hours because herbicide doesn't show up on a map. So since the fields aren't 100% covered, I need to be able to see the contrast. Like that there, we can turn the lights off, turn the engine off, and go back to the case. I'm going to get out and speed up time a little. We can stand here and watch the sunrise. Isn't that nice? The clouds passing overhead. Of course, I could be facing the wrong direction. I'm facing south. No, that's south. That's east. That is the direction the sun rises. Okay. Okay, I think that is probably bright enough. So let's get this job started. I could get this. We'll probably take a break from this one as it gets more daylight, but obviously finishing this job first is the most ideal course of action, because then we can bring the planter up and get some oilseed radish in the ground here. And then I'll probably put that on a worker. And am I doing this the right way? I don't think I'm doing this the right way. I should be doing it, well. Oh no, I am doing it the right way. I'm just getting completely confused. We'll lower that. Drive with the left tyre in the groove of the previous row to get best coverage. That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, you don't want to be lining up, as the rotation of the plough is currently, you don't want to be trying to line up the right hand side of the plough on the previously ploughed line. Because that's just difficult. That flipped. And then because we're doing root crops, ploughing is a necessity on the farm. Well, if you want to maintain yield, it's a necessity. going to be interesting to see in Farm Sim 22 what the impact of each of the sort of the plough cultivate equipment is. Because they have suggested that different forms of cultivation will adversely affect weeds, probably count towards ploughed and not ploughed as currently. So but it'll give you another method of what's the word for it, mitigating weeds that won't just include weeders and herbicide, but also the method of cultivation that you choose. And good morning, Captain Zank. Welcome to Saturday's stream. I finally picked up all the potatoes. We have over 303,000 litres, which is probably a good thing. Not as many as we got the other things we had. Sugar beets. Sugar beets we had about 460,000. But that's going to be some good income over winter. I think they both max price round about midwinter. And I did make a bit of a mistake last week at the end of the stream. The auto-load bale trailer was loaded with bales. I thought, I wonder what the impact of that's going to be. Well, it turns out that wrapped bales will completely ferment if you save the game and reload. So, yay, I got 30 bales fully fermented and the rest have 45 hours left to go. But I kind of figure since I'm going to have to take the JCB down to the BGA to sell them all, the ones that fermented prematurely, not a big deal. We're not going to sell those early. Oh, we might sell them a little bit early, get a head start, because it's going to be, I think it's generally going to be late in the day when the fermentation process is done, and we don't have enough time left to ferment all of them, or to digest all of them before overnight. It's not a huge deal. Also, it's going to be a little bit difficult because I'm going to have to hold back some of the potatoes for seed next year. I don't know how many litres to hold back, but it's kind of a bit of a mess up. You know, if I sell potatoes a certain price and then have to buy seed potatoes for more, that's kind of a bad deal. It's better to save money than it is to waste it. Although that said, if I do sell all the potatoes, it's effectively moving the finances around a bit, so I'll have a little bit more money from harvest, which may make buying something less of a strain on the finances. And then we can buy seed potatoes a little bit later when we probably have more money in the bank. So I'm guessing I'm going to be buying the seed potatoes when the wool's being sold. Not that wool's particularly valuable, I guess. we'll figure that out. This isn't too bad a job, I guess. It's not as slow as harvesting the potatoes. Although it would probably be quicker if I got myself a plow, whatever it is. I can't remember what they're called. Why can't I remember what they're called? Subsoiler, that thing. Though the subsoiler is a slower working piece of equipment, it's kind of easier to use, and at this horsepower range, significantly wider than a plough. That one out be lifting. Thank you. I kind of have toyed with the thought that you should really leave your plough on create fields all the time and live with the consequences. Maybe I'll do that in Farm Sim 22. We'll just go with a play where, hey, it is what it is. And if you want to plough to the edge of the field, you've got to accept, you know, lowering the plough where it needs to be lowered, because that's kind of realistic, kind of how it happens in real life. This edge-to-edge protected ploughing, not really a thing. So I think, what is it? We have been playing, or I have been playing Farm Sim for about 5 years now, between 19 and 17. And this is probably the first case tractor I've played which wasn't an older model. I don't know if I've got the older models loaded. No, I don't have the older models loaded. There was an old model in Farm Sim 17 which defaulted on pretty much all of Giant's maps. I think it was the 1455 XL. And someone did do a mod of that for 19. But throughout my Farm Sim 17 time, that was pretty much the only time I used that tractor was as a starting tractor on a Giant's map. And then, or the starting tractor on somebody else's map where that was the tractor they decided was the starting tractor.